Attempt 4. Okay. I think now I'm probably calm enough to actually make a commentary without sounding too morose. I woke up this morning to proof that man's inhumanity towards man is in no danger of vanishing anytime soon. On the international stage, we had J.D. Vance's stunning speech to European powers, pointing out everything they've actually been doing, and basically blaming them on policies of unmitigated immigration from Muslim countries, which is truthful, cracking down on speech that is what Europeans would call divisive or hateful, but what most of us call just disagreeing with the state, free speech, and to hear CNN anchors saying that free speech was weaponized and caused World War II and the Holocaust, to see David Hogue show the corruption of the Democratic Party accidentally, to hear people on the left in Australia calling for the assassination of Donald Trump, to hear also from Australia the prosecution of someone for praying near an abortion clinic, just praying on his own, and to see Germany, after suffering multiple attacks this week alone from Islamic terrorists, arresting 50 people for supposed hate speech for things they posted online, also known as disagreeing with the state. That would all be topic enough for commentary. But then it was further added to the action of Australian Muslims trying to defend the two nurses who said they would kill any Israeli or Jew that came into their ward. Trying to defend that statement, saying you must understand that because of the genocide going on in Gaza. And I've come to expect that from that barbaric, throwback, medieval, torturous, tyrannical religion. Yeah, I'm no longer holding back any punches when it comes to Islam. Because today, it was announced that the Bibas family is dead. Who are the Bibas family? The Bibas family were a family of Israelis that were captured by Hamas terrorists on October 7th, 2024. They were hauled into Gaza, kept captive. The father was routinely mentally tortured by being told one day his family was dead, being told the other day they were still alive and being beaten or starved or what have you. He was eventually released. His wife and 2 children were still in Hamas custody. The boys and the mother are well known because in the video of their capture, and ever since, we see images of these 2 very young red-headed children, terrified of what's happening around them, their mother trying to protect them and helpless to do so. The baby was only 9 months old at the time of his abduction. His brother, if I remember correctly, was 2. Now, putting aside the fact that taking civilian hostages is against the Geneva Convention, it would still behoove any power willing to stoop so low to let infants go home. Because the argument that an infant and a child who can't even speak properly yet are somehow a threat to your state is ludicrous. But they weren't. And now they're dead. Every time I hear evangelical Christians compare abortion to throwing children to the fires of Moloch, I roll my eyes. Because although it is horrific, it is not the same thing. That operation is normally not being done for a religious reason. This was. The murder of these 2 innocent boys was religiously motivated. So is the rape of all the female Israeli captives. So are most of the things that we see the Gazans doing, or Islamists in general. So if after today you can't get on board with my mantra of burn every Quran, demolish every mosque, re-educate every Muslim, incarcerate every Islamist, I don't know what it's going to take for you to see the problem. Britain currently has a political party advocating for Sharia law in Britain. Is that what's going to take? It's going to take the UK to start doing 5 salats a day by force or die? So the Bibas family is dead. What are we going to do about it? That's the next question. Sadly, I already know what's going to happen. Nothing. The powers that be are going to look at this situation and go, oh, well, 3 civilian lives in contrast to all the political, material, and fiscal fallout from doing something. You have our condolences. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And make no mistake, this is different. This is very different than a child being struck by stray fire in a war zone, which is unintentional. These people were intentionally captured, intentionally detained, and supposedly cared for, which means they were intentionally abused. Otherwise, why are they dead? The levels of anti Semitism to get behind this are fascinating, but also so are the levels of blind, willful ignorance and faith in progressive politics, because this, make no mistake, is the result of progressive politics. And those same politics are going to lead the West into ruin. They want to control what we can say so they can control what we think, so they can control what we do. They want to control your very thoughts. Who's this they? Everyone always speaks of a they when they're spinning conspiracy theory. The they I refer to is a group of like-minded political minds who have shared interests in finance, business, industry, and government. Their number one concern is control. And this group consists not only of people on the progressive left, but people on the radical right. Not so much a uniparty, as often is talked about, but just a problem of station. A hierarchical problem, if you will. There's something about libertarianism that it is often closely allied to anarchist thought. It is not that I agree with the anarchist solution, but their diagnosis of the problem is pretty spot on. The problem is once you have anybody in a position of power who isn't questioned, the potential for abuse rises. David Hogue just proved this when he put out that list looking for donors that only go to different people in the DNC. We are ruled by people who, once they get into that station, stop believing that our lives are as worthy as theirs. You just saw it with Hamas judging the lives of this Israeli family not to be worth the same as the life of a Palestinian. You're going to see it in Europe with the government deciding the lives and opinions of indigenous citizens are not as valuable as those citizens they're pulling in to produce their labor more cheaply and more affordably. The United States right now is going through a populist uprising, which that is not the case. But you see how hard our government's fighting against it? It's hard not to look at the world and just want to say, you know what? I'm off this rock. You know the reason why I think we don't have space travel, or we don't have Heinlein or the golden age of sci-fi's future where now we should have colonies on the moon and Mars? The politicians don't want to risk losing control of us. And what can we really do about it? We, average, everyday citizens. Well, we can vote people in that say they will do something, but how often do they actually do it? Face it, Bubba. We're boned. All we can do is the best we can for ourselves individually, maybe in small collective communities. But even then, it won't be enough. Someone will turn against you, someone will vilify you, someone will take it away from you. I have no advice to give you. And maybe I'm just guilty of falling into the despair. Because looking at the Bibas murders, and they're murders, I think about what I would do if that happened to my children. None of the answers are good. That's all that's going on in my head today. Um, I I really try not to sound like a depressing fuck, but it's hard to look at the world we're at right now and not feel that there's not much improvement happening. We were promised flying cars, jetpacks to the moon, jetpacks to work, 4-hour work days, no more war, diseases gone to the ingestion of a pill by now. We were promised a Jetson style future. And why don't we have it? Because we're too content killing one another. And I wish I knew how to fix that. Because politics can't do it, religion hasn't done it. You even find individuals, really, that aren't falling victim to that self-destructive urge. What will it take for us to actually embrace a virtue of life? Virtue of harmonious understanding and living with one another. Yes, I know I sound like a hippie. They weren't entirely wrong either. What will it take for us to finally get to the point of, okay, they're not doing my thing, but as long as they're not telling me not to do my thing, I'm cool. Instead of kidnapping people, murdering people,